Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about defending the B site on Overpass and how we're going to prevent an execute from the T's, or at least slow it down until we can get our friends or our teammates to come help us on a retake, slash just like, holding the T's back until we have more help, right? By using our utility. And then also like how we position ourselves on the fight to make it harder, or on the site, sorry, so to make it harder for the T's to attack it. The biggest part of this is water. So water here is a critical part of the map. If we really think about it, right, the T's coming out of their spawn, they can go towards B, right, where like coming out monster is a direct path to the site, but water is still technically like it can be a fair fight for the CTs. Like our timing as a CT, when we get here, like the T is basically like swinging wide, right? It's like this timing works out like very close, so it's a pretty fair fight to get to water if we decide to go fight for it. What that does for us though is if we can take it and we can hold this off, now the T's either, if they're going towards A, they gotta go towards A, right? And if they're going towards B, like they're committed towards B. There's no easy rotate in between, because a lot of times what we see on Overpass is maybe like a couple utilities use B, and then especially if this door has been opened already, then the T's can easily and very quickly get up towards the A site without very many noise cues, and quickly run and execute onto A without us really having any idea what's going on. So, initially all we see is just like, we see action at B and we go, oh, maybe it's going to be a B play. But then once we maybe send like one guy down and we only have one guy playing A now, the guy jumping A is like, oh no, they're actually coming A, and the retake onto A is even harder, right? And so, with that, water control is super important. So what we're going to do is we have two different nades we're going to use to take it. And these can be used, there's different pros and cons to them. So the first one is a smoke. So if we look, there's like this little like smudge that's kind of like a, there's like this smudge, and then there's like this little rectangular one right here. And we're going to line up with this, the corner right here of this tile that's like sticking up. It's got this little lip on it, right? So we're going to line up with it and that smudge, and we're going to right click and hold our smoke. We're going to run until we get to that corner, and we're going to jump throw. And that is going to just land right here. This is super easy smoke. We don't need to do some fancy thing from up in the A site. As a B player, I can be running down with my teammate and say like, hey, we're gonna take water. And all I do is I run, I jump throw this, I then come here with my flash, I look at the bottom of this board, and I jump, and I pop, and we can see that lands right here. And so this smokes off the tunnel, and then this flash, even if a player decides to take that even fight with me, right, that we talked about, where he can still swing through the smoke technically and come try to fight me and have this even fight. This flash is going to pop right as he's coming out here, and he's going to be full blind. So then you're going to come right around this corner. You can rip him easily, right? And now we have water control, and this smoke is set up as like a deterrent for a couple more seconds. And maybe if if we come in here with a teammate, then he can then smoke it, and we can do a lot more things. So another thing, like if you can have two people boost, so you can boost right here, and then if I can get it, you can like see through this window, right? The angle's about this, so you can catch people off guard through this window. And we can lock down the water. So a good way to set this up is if you have one guy like crouch right here and hold the tunnels, so he can't be seen from the door. But if someone does swing door, he can jump up and help his teammate. And then the other player plays like an angle like right here. And even like if we're only playing like two people on the B site, he can like play like right here behind the sandbags and still hold the swing, but not be exposed to the B site, and then just use a sound cue to say, hey, they're like coming out B, and then maybe maybe you got to retake towards B, but that's not as hard of a site to retake, especially when we have water control. So if we decide, even if we decide to only have two people water control, getting this water control with the smoke is really important. Let's say that maybe like we don't have a flash to flash in, or they're sending like a bunch of players towards water really quickly through the smoke and they're trading us, what we can do is if we grab a Molotov and we just run, like you can see like this pillar, like you can kind of like shimmy yourself in here, and we look one, two, the third window, the top right corner of it, and we throw on here. That'll also molly the tunnel, right? And so this becomes, and then like we can come in here, we can take it, and then we can smoke like right after it. The smoke did some funny things, but using that Molotov then, right? No one wants to run through a Molotov, and even if they do, now they're even more hurt. And us with our M4A4, with our flashbang, with it, now they're blind and they're dinked down, so we can get the one tap on them. Easy kill, and we can get water control. So if they're really pressuring us, we can use that Molotov there, which you can scroll back to see again how to throw it. And so with that, we can get water control, which is a big part of B. So typically on our CT setup, we play 3B and 2 towards A, right? We can do 2B and like one guy connector, which once again, if we're getting connector control, absolutely want to get water control, right? Because then that makes this connector player that much more, he's not worried, right? As he's coming down here, instead of having to worry about, could they be in water? Do I need to worry about my door? Now all he's got to worry about is the stairs here. He can even like, you know, we'll get into this. I'll probably talk about connector more in the A video. But it gives him a lot more peace of mind, right? Because he doesn't have to worry about people opening this door and then coming to fight him. So with water control, we got 2 players in water. Now, for the last player on B, now that water control is like taken, he needs to be able to hold the monster, right? Which we all know, like taking this fight, you know, normally we probably want to do this with like an op. But we can with a rifle as well. But this is a really hard angle to fight. So things that we can do, we can have a teammate flash us. So if we run into this corner and we look, like there's this little like dot right there. If we look at that dot and we throw, we can see that this like flashes, it goes over the tunnel so you can't see it, and it flashes right in the middle of the tunnel. So anyone like holding this, like even this far back, blind, right? If they're like rushing it, blind, right? So great flash. This would be like a teammate normally has to throw this for like the timing to be right. The other thing, we can obviously just like smoke off the monster, right? Now, the thing that a lot of people make the mistake of is they throw the smoke and then they just sit toxic, right? We do nothing with it. Throwing this smoke here early in the round, all it does is just delay the inevitable, right? So if we're going to throw this, we need to use it to get some control. So if we like walk all the way over here into this corner, Zipnix always plays this corner and is, you know, amazing at it. Watching like demos of him, you just sit in this corner and it's the hardest thing. Steel also from Ghost plays this angle a lot, right? Because a lot of times as a T, you're coming out and you're immediately looking toxic. You don't even like, that is completely off. I mean, I guess maybe if I have 4-3 stretch, but maybe if you like 16-9 native, you can see it, right? But still, it's way over. You know, this is a hard to like swing and fight that. You have to hard clear it, right? And it's tough. And you can play anywhere along this wall, right? So like one round, you can play like all the way back to the corner. You can even like kind of like shimmy yourself up on here, and you can like hold like this. You can also do the Astralis bait and switch. Which is where you have one player like kind of like surf his way up into that corner, and then you have another guy, so like Dupree a lot of times will like surf his way up into here, and then Zipnix will play back here in this corner, and he'll make contact, kill the first guy, he'll continue to swing, dink the second guy, maybe die, and like, oh, we're good, and all the T's run out, and then Dupree's like up here in this corner being all cheeky and stuff, and they all run through, and then he just shoots them all in the back. So we want to set up different setups, and when we use a smoke, the biggest thing on CT side, if we're going to use a smoke to slow down a push, we need a purpose behind it. We don't want to just smoke something just to delay the inevitable. It does nothing, right? Like, it doesn't really matter if someone runs out B with like a minute 50 to go or a minute 40 to go in the round, right? It's still going to be the same like push, right? And we're still like, yes, maybe we can like get water control a little bit better, which would help. But if they're just doing 5 guys out monster, it's 5 guys out monster, right? And so what we want to do is if we use these smokes, we want to use it to like get ourselves in a position that's advantageous, or we want to save a smoke like that for when we see like a set execute coming over. So if we're like sitting toxic, right, we have a good vision of all like the smokes can be thrown. So when you start seeing, right, like not only am I seeing you're holding and looking like right here at the tunnel, I'm also looking like up in this area waiting for those smokes. In this fight, like I can get like one, and then like I can just like sit here, I can like throw a Molotov right here, right? Like I can drop a smoke just like right here, just like this, right? Now this fight on me, super hard. Like this now sucks, right? If I drop this smoke, now I've got like I can like lurk my way out of toxic. I can like now fight right here. If we have water control, I don't even have to worry about water, right? If maybe I'm in like a tough spot, now I can start playing, I can get up, I can start playing the pillar like Guardian does a lot, right? Play real close here, take this fight, start swinging, and I can change my position up by, like a smoke doesn't necessarily have to just block off like a choke point, right? We can also like create a way to like move around the site with this smoke, right? So now I can take this fight. I can now fall back like all the way to pit, wait for help, right? I can like take this fight, then, you know, I'm still alive, I can like flash, I can do a lot of things, right? So we need to use our utility while the execute's happening in like in a safe moment, right? So that I make contact with, oh, my bad. I make contact with connector and then immediately go and drop my smoke, right? Because I know that I don't have a lot of time till that guy gets here. And we also know that once I make this contact, this guy's coming up and he's just gonna unload right there, right? And so I need to probably move. So yeah, so that's our, like, that's like when we want to use our utility. The other thing, like if we don't go for water control, if we're maybe playing like the graffiti position and we see like a smoke, if there's a smoke like comes down like on the bridge here, which is super common right now to allow the T players to come out, don't just sit here and like wait on this angle for like 5 seconds for the guy to like run onto site, his teammate plants, and then he comes and wide swings you and fights you right here. Like that whole time there, worthless, right? And also now your toxic guy, there's no way he's gonna live through that, right? You see that smoke come down? Immediately I'm throwing that like molly, and then maybe I'm like throwing a deep nade through into pit, and then I'm flashing like on the other side of the toxic barrel, right? I've now used all my utility except for possibly a smoke or a flash, right? Depending on what I've bought. And I just like, I saw a smoke come down and, you know, let's say like it's late in the round, so I know this is more than likely an execute. I see a smoke come down, I throw that, I throw my nade, and then I flash for my teammate toxic or like ramp or something to peek, right? And I have like a key binded so that I can throw that really quickly, and that's the 5 seconds that I know it takes for this guy to swing out here. And more than likely they're gonna get slowed down short because I mollied it. So now like the fight monster is probably a lot safer for me to take for the moment because I'm not getting swung by someone coming up short. So I can like come and help fight with my ramp guy. I can do a lot more things, right? Because I use this utility. And so using that utility when we see the smokes come down or when we see them pop, we know there's like a very short amount of time where nothing is going to happen. Like there's, unless they have some impeccable timing and we aren't getting very much information, like sure, maybe in like some crazy world, they have a guy sitting right here, he hears that smoke goes down from his teammate and he immediately just runs right up to the graffiti. But that's dumb. That doesn't happen, right? We never see that. So we want to just be aware of when this utility happens, when's the next point that I'm going to make contact, and what can I do until then to use my utility to slow it down. The other things are different boosts. We can boost here. So if they're going for a lot of water control, like if they're pushing through this smoke that we talked about, right, with water, like if we're throwing, oh my gosh, I messed it up. I jumped like way too late. If they're going through like this smoke and they're pushing through it a bunch, and we're like losing water, boost, right? Just go for the boost, because now, like the last couple rounds, we've been swinging right here on ramps. So they're coming out, they're pre-aiming, they're ready for us swinging here, right? Because they keep killing us. You know, they're not coming out of our smoke looking at the boost, right? So change it up a little bit, right? If we get ripped one round, just say, hey, you know, let's boost this round. And now, you know, we're gonna catch one off guard, and then we fall back off of this, right? The other thing, you can boost right here. So if you're playing 2 guys on the B site and you want to go for like 3A, which I'll talk about in the other video, really good spot is to boost right here and have like an op or like someone that you really trust with the rifle to be boosted right on top of this wall. And you're just playing retake B. Ideally, we're going for like a lot of connector controls so we can have a nice retake. But this spot isn't like, we're not always looking for it as we're coming out as a T, and you probably get at least 1 kill, if not 2, from that position to make a retake really easily, or to make a retake really easy. Sorry. So yeah, that's B. Oh, the last thing, Heaven Player. I have this written down. So if this is a very long video, but I think this kind of like helps a lot with our CT. We don't necessarily want a Heaven Player. Heaven Players are good if we're doing like a late retake on the B site. It's very hard to like hold. Like once you get the plant down and you're trying to survive on the B site as a T is really hard. And also like if they're doing a lot of monster rushes, then we can play like a Heaven Player. But a lot of times right now people are throwing like the Heaven Smoke, which means that our Heaven Player a lot of times when these executes either just like sits right here and they do nothing. We either do like some kind of a like, oh my bad, we do like a dumb peek where we have to like swing out here. Now we're just incredibly exposed. We have no way to get out of this situation. Or they then just fall back and go graffiti. And this whole time, right, is that time they talked about where we can be utilizing utility. We can be helping our teammates for the push. So really, like, they throw 1 smoke, and now it's a 2v3, right? Or a 2v5 on the B site instead of a 3v5, which is really difficult, right? Because like if we have like a graffiti player and a ramp player / pit player, right? The T's normally are going to win that fight. If we can have like a pit player, a ramp player, and a graffiti player, now we probably have a better chance because we all can use our utility. We can all try to slow them down, and we're not just sitting behind a smoke. So yeah, that's B site on Overpass. I know I went over a lot. This is an 18-minute long video, but I hope that this helps us kind of understand like how we want to hold on CT side and when we need to use utility, and hopefully this helps our B players on Overpass. I have another video up for A site and what we want to do on A site. I won't go as like in depth on how to play CT. I'll more just go over like some setups. But hopefully this helps. So yeah.